For Project Ikelos, we created a method that would help us reuse animations in a modular way. I'll demonstrate this by creating multiple characters for a fighting game. First is the baseline puppet, which is the foundation for the rest. Second is the animation puppet, or the skeleton as we called it. And third is the in-game model, the one that the players see. This workflow is ideal for games where the same animations and logic are reused like a template across similar characters. Media Molecule's first-person shooter puppet is a great starting point because it comes pre-rigged with hands. Starting out, we want a baseline puppet that has all the moving parts we need across our characters. The puppet on the left has already been stripped of everything I don't need and fitted with a jaw. I left the original hand microchips because they already come keyframed. Now save this, start a brand new level, and drop in the baseline puppet. The second stage is where you want to change the overall proportions of the puppet to fit a particular character type. The Golem and Thrall, for example, are two different enemy types and each occupy their own separate level. Since this example is for a fighting game, I'll keep the proportions human. Now to get started on gameplay. The bulk of animation and programming work is done on this basic model. This allows the animations for the puppet to be used modularly and acts as a skeleton for the in-game models. When you're satisfied, save it, start a brand new level, and drop the animation puppet inside. Third stage is the in-game model. This is where artists can sculpt the model that the players will actually see. The biggest advantage to this workflow is that it allows animators, programmers, and artists to work on the same character simultaneously without interfering with one another, or having to wait for a character to finish being sculpted before being animated and programming it. I saved the in-game model, and now let's add more moves to the animation puppet. Skipping ahead here, I've added a kick. I'll save and go back to the in-game model. Now the in-game model has an update available. Before updating, we have just the punch, after updating, the kick animation is added to the in-game model. From here you can create as many versions of the in-game model as you want. They are now essentially reskins of the underlying animation model. Because animation data is stored on the joints themselves, you can even make slight adjustments to the proportions without breaking the animation. Now there is something to be aware of, and it has to do with the relationship between animations, the update tool, and attaching objects. Here I'm using the pre-updated version, the one with just the punch, and attaching something to its waist, which, along with the heels, are almost always IK animated. The animation plays fine now, however once it's updated with the kick, the animation is broken. This can be prevented by updating the in-game model before adding an object to an IK animated part. or by selecting Auto Update so you don't forget. FK animations work a bit differently, and you shouldn't run into issues attaching objects regardless of when you update the model. The other minor issue to be aware of is if you move the animation puppet from its location, it will also move the in-game model once it updates. So be sure to put it back when you're done. When we discovered the update issue ourselves, we were at a point when we couldn't fix it. Luckily, there's still a simple solution, and one that you can use instead of the update method. Wait till the artists are done with the model, place the most current animation puppet into the scene, group the pieces, and reskin the limbs all together. There you go. I'm Rose of Thorn. That's how you make modular animated characters.